Well, I think we got this going. We got that going. We got that.
We got
going.
the buttons that are ready to push. It's another episode of Just Us Music Videos.
And we're here. We have a great interview that we're really looking forward to introducing to you. And this is Daniel Lorenzo. Daniel is the digital marketing
Guru.
manager at Swallow Hill, which is the wonderful facility here in Denver. It's actually very famous in the folk world of a great location that has wonderful concerts and
Concert
classes,
venue, classrooms,
all those
community
things.
work. It's great. Swallow Hill.
So Daniel, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, of course, y'all. Thanks for having me. This is going to be awesome.
Not only are you the guru for doing social media for Swallow Hill, you're also a musician, and we actually got to go see your band, Chariots and Charioteers, and we were so impressed. You guys are really, really something else.
Would you tell us a little bit about your music life, first of all, before we get into the social media thing?
Sure, of course. And thanks again for coming, y'all. I wish I could have gotten to talk to you a little bit more after. There was the classic, post-show whirlwind. But I was really touched y'all came, and I'm glad you had a good time.
And my first question was, Chariots and Charioteers, how'd you get the name?
It's kind of funny. It's kind of it's one of those inside jokes that one of those bands that's named off an inside joke that doesn't exactly have you can't quite explain why it was funny to us, but it was at the time. We all, Claire and Paul, who were in the band, who are the singer and the keyboard player, I play with them at a church gig quite often. And there was so it was actually a reading from the Bible, from the book of Exodus, talking about the story of the kind of classic story of the Moses and the Israelites escape from Egypt. And there's this just one part that, for whatever reason, during a service we were playing, there was this reading where they just repeat the phrase chariots and charioteers over and over again. And for whatever reason, it was just cracking us up. And then it was just band name? It just sort of arose organically. So that's just where it came from.
No, it's very cool. It's a very high concept. I mean, it really is. And I was really struck by how complex your sound was, and just the quartet, how really interesting your songs and your orchestrations were.
Well, in fact, how do you classify yourselves?
Oh man, that is such a good question, and I think of having a band, maybe the most difficult part of having a band has been how to describe what we sound like. But what I've settled on we've been together about 3 years now. What I've settled on is basically a mix of somewhere between folk and soul is the way I describe it. And recently we've been leaning in a little bit more to that soul sound, a little bit more of a funky thing, but still very organic instrumentation. So yeah, that's how I would describe it.
Well, it's really good. I wanted to play just. We have a little clip of your band just to give everybody a sort of an idea of who you are and what you sound like, and hopefully this will work.
I know where that drummer plays the sax.
Yeah, same here actually. Yeah, I've never seen that otherwise. Brian's
lots of instruments. I mean, you play the violin. It's just really, really a deep sound. I really like it.
Yeah, thanks so much, y'all. I think that's become kind of a hallmark of our sound, is just the switching off instruments, and it's always a challenge to make that like a selling point of our sound, make that something that gets people interested. Like, ooh, they're switching instruments while also not like making the sound guy's life hell. So
That's true.
Yeah.
big shout out to all of the sound people that we've had over the course of the years in Denver. We've had some, we've had some folks who were really patient with us. So.
Sure. So one of my first questions would be, how do you get gigs? Because this podcast is for musicians who want to get their music out into the world. So how do you guys get gigs?
Basically, I think the simplest way I can answer that is just trial and error. It's just sending out a ton of reach outs to different venues, and just knowing that, kind of like in sales, you have to expect a low response rate, and just don't let that discourage you, and just keep sending out way more than you think you'll ever need. But also, I would say a big part of that, and so, I mean, for me, that's all just been kind of done through email. I know for some folks it can be kind of more word of mouth, or texting with bookers if you know them personally. But yeah, for me, it's just been sending out emails, and I think the biggest part of that I would recommend, that we've seen success with, is one, just like really doing your research for the venue. What kinds of things are they booking? Is it like 3-hour covers gigs, or is it like ticketed shows? Do they do a little bit of both? And make sure you really know. And then kind of just sussing out their presence on the internet too, to see how reputable of a venue it is, and right. To make sure that like they might have you, but do you want to be playing there? Right. And then, like, is it going to be a good experience for you? And then, so that's one. And then I think the other thing, in addition to doing your research, is crafting a really solid like template, a really solid email template that describes your sound, has all of your links in it, and really kind of explains like why you would be an asset for the venue. Like, you want an email that shows that what you're doing. And I think our email templates have gotten there. That's kind of like, hey, we're just going to come in, plug in and play. You don't have to worry about us,
So how long would you say, is this a paragraph or a couple of paragraphs, and then a link to a live gig?
I think a couple of paragraphs. It really sort of depends, but no more than like 2 paragraphs or so. And then I think your links are really arguably more important. I think something that really helped me is just making sure you have like whether it's Google Drive or Dropbox, having a folder that you can link to that has clips of you playing live, links to your, and like a big link page that has links to your recorded music, your YouTube, your social media profiles, and then as well as like photos that they can already use for promo. Anything like that, like an EPK, an electronic press kit. I know EPK like has sounded like an intimidating word. It sounded like an intimidating word for me for a while, but that can literally just be a Google Drive or a Dropbox folder with all of your stuff. Right. I think that's just really key, having something that looks sharp,
Yeah.
So you're giving them a link to the whole folder? Or the folder is for ease of you grabbing, I want them to see this clip and that clip.
Yeah.
Typically, I'll send them a whole folder. What I have in that folder, among like photos and video clips, I'll have a Google Doc that just has our bio, and then it has all of our links. It's got a link to us on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook.
So it seems like we're on our social media. We kind of have 2 audiences out there. We're looking at our audience for venues and possible gigs, but also to keep in contact with our fans and the people who like our music.
The big thing about keeping up with your fans on social media, I think, is that a lot of people underestimate is just the power of posting consistently. And now that doesn't have to mean posting every day or posting a lot. It's just much more important. It's kind of quality over quantity. It's much more important to, like, it's much better that you post, twice every month rather than you post once every week, or once every day for a month and then don't post anything for like 3 months. Right. That's maybe my biggest my biggest piece of advice for just like keeping in touch with people who have already expressed interest in your music.
How much time do you put into that? I'm curious.
Oh man, with my band, it I'd say at least a couple hours a week. When it comes to both feed posts and then stories on Instagram and Facebook. Stories are really critical that's another thing I guess I should mention when it comes to keeping up with your fans and people who've decided to follow you, is that stories are the best way to actually reach your followers now on Instagram and Facebook. Stories only last for 24 hours, so they're not as permanent, of course, but that is my kind of short version of this spiel is that Instagram and Facebook, in following TikTok, pretty much, honestly, this is pretty much true for every social media platform right now. They are not, they're no longer exclusively showing your stuff to your followers. And just because you follow an account does not mean that their stuff is going to come up in your feed. That's a huge change that we've been seeing over the past few years. So if you want to send something out just to your followers, something that you want to be sure that your followers can see, a story is often the best way to do that.
Great. And I noticed some of I think I saw some of them that were kind of short, 30 seconds. I saw one on a promo of a new song, and is that the kind of stuff that you're trying to focus on?
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to things that I'm posting, I kind of have three sort of categories for the band's content in my mind. I have, promo for a gig, promo for recordings, and then just other miscellaneous, just life of the band stuff. And that third category is important because it's easy to forget. We often, and speaking for myself here too, we often really want, we want people to come to our shows and we want people to listen to our songs. So it's more often our brain goes to those first two categories of just hey, listen to my thing. Please do this thing. But oftentimes that third category of just here's some fun photos and videos from the band, like you said, short little 30-second clips. Oftentimes that can do really well in terms of just getting your followers to engage with you, to like the post, to comment on the post. And then every time they engage with a post, more of your other stuff will come up in their feed. So,
Well, are you doing mostly Instagram or only Instagram?
Yeah, I am more or less with Chariots and Charioteers right now. I am pretty much only doing Instagram. I have it set up to cross post to Facebook. That's a really easy setting for folks listening. If you might not know about that, there's a really easy setting in Instagram where you can toggle on for certain posts. It's not eligible with every kind of post, but for certain posts, you can toggle it on so that it automatically posts to your Facebook as well. So that's more or less the engagement that I have on Facebook right now.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you before. Do you remember what you were going to say before I interrupted you?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I was just going to comment on Steve's original question that about 30-second promo clips and short promo clips for promoting recorded music, promoting gigs. And I just want to say that, yes, that is absolutely, just as a general note I can give, that is absolutely the standard, especially for Instagram right now. And of course, TikTok, because TikTok is all video. Video is king right now, and particularly vertical oriented video.
Right.
Generally, when I'm coming up with an idea for a post, it's not like I exclusively post video. Carousel posts of photos of performances are always great too. But generally speaking, this is with both Chariots and with Swallow Hill. When I have an idea for a post, my second thought is okay, how can I turn that into a video? Maybe the initial idea I have is for something different, but then my next thought is always, how can I turn that into a video that I can share as a reel on Instagram? Because ultimately that is just that's the way we're headed,
Sure.
Yeah, what's amazing nowadays is that we have these things, and we're able to capture video very easily, and really use that tool.
How do you guys do video? How do you shoot it? Phones?
Yeah, we just do it with our phones. Yeah. So yeah, I have a DSLR that I've used before, but I'll generally use that more for Swallow Hill stuff. But for Chariots and Charioteers, yeah, it's pretty much exclusively on our phones.
One thing that I thought was, excuse me, Chris, I thought was interesting is that the quality of your photos was very high, and I think that's a really kind of often overlooked asset that we can have as performers. And it doesn't have to always be from a photographer. It's just we use our phones to be able to capture stills at rehearsals. That sort of stuff is really valuable.
And my question was going to be on audio when you shoot video. Are you just using the mic on your phone, or are you using external mics?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm usually using the mic on my phone. I have, honestly, Chariots is about to release a bunch of new music in 2025. So with that, I have a lot of promo content and ideas that I've been sort of just sitting on and waiting until that music is out. And so for some of that, I am planning to use like this lav mic that I've got here. I've also got a Yeti like USB mic at home, one of those I forget what the model is called, but it's a big ball one. Yeah. So occasionally I use that. Yeah.
Oh, you should take a look at. We have a podcast about this little thing called Audigo, which is a small little mic that is great. And I was thinking, especially for your band, it would be an easy setup to get great audio for your phone. Might check it out.
Yeah, that's a really
right on.
One.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll do.
Are they clips? The video you sent out are clips from performing, or have you done hardcore music videos that are storyboarded and highly produced?
Yeah, so far it's all just been live performance videos. We haven't done any kind of like traditional music videos or anything like that yet. Typically what I'll do, and what I could definitely recommend, is setting up a camera at the gig, even if it's just your phone mic, or even if it's just your phone. And I don't even want to say just your phone, honestly, like even if it is your phone, because honestly, these are such, like you just said, Steve, like these are so high quality. But anyway, set up your phone on a tripod for the gig. And then what I often do is I have a folder with just, these huge hour-long video files, and I'll chop them up, sometimes just into songs, but then sometimes just into like 30-second clips from songs. Yeah, that's mostly what I'm doing. We don't have any plans yet for stylized or produced videos. And honestly, I don't have designs for that. And I think for the average indie musician, like at our level, I wouldn't recommend that. And I think I'm kind of in everybody's journey is different, of course. Everybody's artistry is different. But from what I've seen in my research for the band and thought leadership, where it's really at, I mean, when it comes to social media, like you can get just as much, if not more, traction by just doing like a silly little 30-second kind of like bit on your phone with the band than you would be in investing thousands of dollars in really highly produced video. So
well, I think that thousands of dollars things that's something that really does not pay off, especially on when you're starting off. I think that there was an interesting thing that a friend of mine just told me that she'd finished as a lyric video, which she just basically and since she had a new asset she had a new CD, that she was able to take a song out of there and create a lyric video, and she used PowerPoint and just had some stills, but again, that's something that doesn't cost $1,000, but it has a lot of impact, especially when you're trying to drive people to your CD, to be able to see the lyrics and have a sense of what you do.
Yeah, we haven't talked very much about what you do at Swallow Hill to do social media.
Sure.
I know Steve attended a workshop that you gave for musicians on how to use social media. And then side by side with that, you're doing social media for Swallow Hill. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
What to the musician type person? You've already talked about what your band does, so I'm assuming that those are things that you'd probably recommend. But to somebody who's really just starting out, and would you say the top 2 or 3 things they could do on social media to try to expand their reach?
Probably the number one piece of advice I would give is just get a plan to post consistently. Know specifically what you're going to be promoting with each post and like what you want to promote in each kind of season of the band. Don't try to promote everything all at once. And definitely don't try to, post every day or multiple times a day, because then you'll burn out. Set a really, social media is a beast, and it can be exhausting and honestly, can be a little bit demoralizing when you post something that you worked really hard on and then you just 2 likes, no link clicks or whatever. So definitely making an overall plan beforehand is my biggest number one piece of advice. Say every week, this is the time I have blocked off to make videos, and this is when I'm going to post them every week. That goes a long way in terms of building a profile that is going to attract new followers. Yeah.
When you're figuring out where to post, so you said you do Instagram. That's more Gen Z.
Yeah.
Instagram doesn't strike me as something in our generation that would be the best. We're more Facebook.
Interesting.
Am I right?
I would say there's more. It's not all young folks on Instagram, actually. I would say I'm glad you said that, because I think that's a idea that a lot of people have. But I have seen a lot of folks in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and above still doing really well on Instagram. I think a lot of folks who are because I think we've now shifted to the point where a lot of folks who are parents are on Instagram, or even grandparents. It is becoming much more of a sort of all ages platform. Part of that is because it's becoming more like TikTok, where you can actually, and there are a lot of older adults on TikTok as well. It's becoming a place where you can find people who are interested in what you're interested in. It's becoming a place where people post about all sorts of things. So no, I would honestly say Instagram's great for folks of all ages. Yeah.
Give it a try.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with. We met at a conference for folk musicians with the Folk Alliance here in Denver.
Yeah, it's a great time.
It was awesome. You produced a little flyer that I thought was brilliant. Because a lot of times, as I'm showing here on screen, is that a lot of times we know we should be doing it, but we don't have the ideas of exactly what we should be doing in order to actually do it. So we kind of get in the rut of always doing the same old things. But I love some of the things that you talked about here, like on promoting a show, just a personal invitation, tease a bit about a song.
Introduce your band members. I love that. Great for a band, especially with your 4 interesting people in your band.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
I thought this one talk about the show and why it's important to you as an artist, and just a funny picture, a selfie, the reasons to come to the show. I thought that was all really excellent. And you also, by the way, we're going to offer this. You can download this sheet from Swallow Hill and Daniel. It will be offered underneath here, our podcast. But another one about promotion for any time.
Yeah. What would you say your favorite is of these? A couple of your favorites of these, Daniel.
Yeah, gosh, let's see. I would say, like you mentioned, just content that just introduces the band. I see a lot of other local bands doing videos too. That's like, guess which one of us is the drummer, and they'll have everybody playing drums, things like that. Or just, if we were each a Pokemon, which would we be? Stuff like that. I love just kind of silly get to know the band content like that really showcases each band member. I'm glad you mentioned lyric videos too, Steve. I mean, that's different ways to like cut up your lyric video, or maybe you don't even have a lyric video for the whole song. You just pick, 15 seconds of it and you just create the lyrics and time sync them in Instagram or TikTok, or, on Premiere, whatever software you're using too. That can be really effective too, just like kind of a cool clip. I mean, even the clip could honestly just be you drinking coffee and then you have the song playing behind it and the lyrics appearing on screen. Anything like that is always does really well, and I find is really easy to produce and fun to produce too. So I think those would be some of my favorites.
It's humanizing the group. I mean, obviously music is the number one part, but knowing the humans in the group is really fun too. That's what, in our business life, our parallel business life, we say videos are to humanize a business. Same thing for a band.
Yeah. Sick. Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I keep landing on is that sense of really dedicating a regular time and a schedule to get things out on a regular basis. And if you can afford it, there are people that can help you with these sort of things. We're working with a marketing person,
Spotlight
Marketing, who's
nice.
really excellent, and she does a wonderful job of scheduling a month in advance. And she puts together a schedule, and so now, instead of us always feeling, we just don't have the time to do it,
and then not doing it,
but it's inspiring us to keep producing more stuff, because we're putting the energy into making the product rather than stressing about how to put it out.
Yeah.
It's been great talking to you about this stuff. I know there's so much more that we can learn from you, and we really appreciate you coming on and also producing this little
thanks for letting us share
that.
Of course. My pleasure.
I'm just I think there's one more opportunity. If you have any thoughts on really some encouragement for us musicians who are out there, knowing that we have a need and want to be able to share our music and to get more work, I'm just wondering what your final thoughts might be for us.
Of course. Yeah. And thanks for having me, y'all. I mean, this has been just a great conversation. And likewise, I mean, I could keep going forever. I could always talk more about this stuff. But my final thoughts, I think if there was like a parting word I had to give to musicians who want to increase their social media presence, it would be just be yourself. It sounds kind of cliche, but I'm really glad you had that note, Chris, about how it humanizes the band and humanizes you as an artist. I went to a presentation on TikTok at a conference a couple years ago, and I heard a soundbite that I think captured it really well. Is that in today's social media in the 2020s, people use social media because they want to see people like them doing fun things, doing things that they enjoy. People are on social media to have a good time. Like, they want it to be positive. Don't worry about really don't worry about making your content professional. Don't worry about making it look professional. Don't worry about cultivating a persona. Just be just have fun with it, and that will come through to your audience. Don't no ideas. Well, I guess maybe there are a couple bad ideas, but as you're coming up with videos, no idea is too silly or unprofessional or anything like that. And it doesn't even have to directly tie explicitly to your music. Just post, things that are fun. Post things that you have fun making. Just post them and see what happens. Throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. That's what I'd have to say, yeah.
Great advice. Well, thank you, Daniel. And we'll look for seeing Chariots and Charioteers out on the road. And if you're around Denver, please look for them.
And Swallow Hill.
Swallow Hill. Yeah, Swallow Hill. Swallow Hill is one of the best places in Denver, and you're lucky to be part of it, I think.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely.
Thank
Grateful
you.
to be here.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Until next time.
Thanks for talking, y'all. Awesome. Lovely conversation. Take care, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, good. Should we do a wrap up?
We can. What a bunch of good ideas.
Yeah, really.
Consistency. That's the one that's hard for me.
Well, actually, I was really thinking about the Instagram part. Is that's because I guess it's I haven't been on Instagram that much, and I don't follow it that much. But I'm going to try because I know that one of my favorite podcasts, he's doing Instagram like all the time, and I know that it has our audience out there.
Good.
Yeah.
And we can always ask our daughter for advice.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Why should we worry? Yesterday's news